Hello there. Oh. This is of course the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful tarot show. That's right, on this one particular YouTube channel I do tarot readings. Now this is essentially an entertainment service, absolutely, okay, but it's also a very special type of entertainment service. It's one in which you can actually submit a question to me, okay, and it can appear in this one particular tarot show video, which comes out usually about once a week, okay. Sometimes there's a bit of variety there. I'm just like you, okay. I've got my own schedule and I've got to look after my family and my friends and doing you know, the washing, the cleaning and my work and all the rest of that, trying to fit everything together. So sometimes the schedule does get a bit off whack, and I do apologize for that, okay. But on the other hand, the show is still here. The show is still loud, proud and dangerous to know in every possible way. So submit your requests through by email to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com, okay. That's nickdutchtarot, all one word, all lowercase, okay, at gmail.com. No questions about pregnancy, medical matters or childbirth. There's a few other little issues I'll find a bit difficult or I'll struggle with. But apart from that, essentially to the most part, you know, we can actually generate some progress for you in trying to get another perspective on, let's say, your life situations, okay? So, what is the purpose of a tarot reading? Well, that's up to you. A lot of people use their tarot reader just as, I suppose, almost a bit like a counsellor, okay? Someone you can talk to or someone you can share your problems with. But as far as the tarot show video itself is concerned, it's so that I can tell you something that my reading is telling you as a result of your question to me, okay? Don't leave your request in the comment section. So, without further ado, let's get on with the first reading of today. Okay, Sherry S would like to know about career/educational matters during the coming year. Let's have a quick look and see what's coming through. Bear with me a second, please. Okay. Okay, the first thing I'm seeing is making sure that you take a practical attitude to this. Okay, we've got signs predominantly here relating to work, and that means of a financial nature. But it does also speak about labour. There is a feeling of there being two dimensions to your future, especially within the next 24 months. Okay, 24 months, not 12 months for some reason, is what came through to me. Therefore, it's what I tell you. All right. Now, on one side of things, you know, you want to try and avoid negativity. You want to try and avoid something deeper and darker. You're aware of who you are and what you are as a sensitive, philosophical individual, and you want to try and make sure you are working hard. But on the other hand, that's to do with like material wealth in the here and now, okay? Maintaining your stability is something which you might find hard, but on the other hand, I don't see it as being non-doable, if you get my drift. The other part of your reading, very different spectrum of colours there, okay? That's more to do with something of the academic nature, and I feel that there is a bit of a mercurial feeling, not necessarily in terms of the signage in the cards, okay? Not necessarily in terms of the symbols I'm seeing, but in terms of the feelings I'm getting. Now, the impression that I've got here is getting it balanced. I feel that the financial side of things will have to take probably a bit more precedence above the academic side of things, but you're not losing sight of your goals, and as a result of that, it's all moving you steadily in the right direction. But there is stable work coming, as well as some academic opportunities for you, so the longer term future will start to manifest itself. Okay, now we got a question about one particular significant other, same email address but different name given, which is really rather weird. So I'll treat this if it's coming from the same inquirer. We'll have a look at this one particular connection, this one particular individual, and see whether it's going to actually start working out one way or another. Shuffled very thoroughly, let's see what's coming out now, okay? Well, on their side of things, there are some signs relating to joy and happiness and the feeling of success and achievement. The force between the two of you is coming out with love, but also there's a feeling of distance there. The emotional side of things is strong. The action side of things is not, and because of that I think you need to have some doubts. Not too many doubts, but just some doubts, because it's a difficult time for you, a difficult situation. Signs on your side of things, I feel you're aware that there's a feeling of powerlessness about this, but on the other hand that's a powerlessness which can go with the passage of time. You're someone who is very, very dedicated, but I feel you can get a bit obsessive at times. We all can, with relationships we've got, with relationships we haven't got, with relationships we think we've got, and so on and so forth, okay? I get the same. And it's just a very human thing that we've got to work with and deal with. And I think you probably got that rather a lot at the moment. So it's just something you need to get a bit more perspective on. As a question of, like, will this person come into your life? Difficult to say. They're quite calm and objective. You've got needs which need to be fulfilled. They've got a feeling of success, but they're not necessarily capable of reading the signs which come from you. So there is a communication problem going on here. Progression into the future, quite stable. This is not someone who's leaving your life. Okay, predominantly earth signs in the short-term, midterm, and long-term future. Whoops, there we go. The Hierophant card speaks about power and authority, but it does speak about control and communication, and being able to communicate what is essentially right. The other two signs, strong female significator, that means you, okay, controlling the relationship, being in charge, stating what your needs are, okay, in a rather direct and formal way. Not overly passionate, but direct, formal, and adult, okay, so that you can have the stability that you need to take his sort of like head in the clouds mentality and to bring it back on track. Sorry N, you would like to have a look to see whether you'll be in a relationship within this year. Let's have a quick look, see what the reading says. Shuffle very thoroughly. Here we go. Okay, chronological spread. We've had an 8-card relationship reading. Now we're on to a chronological. Right, okay. When it comes out like this, it's curious, because the final sign that we have there for you is the Lover's card. Okay, the Lover's card does not necessarily mean love, does it? Okay, it means real responsibility, but it's a responsibility in a relationship and learning what it means to be a responsible person within a relationship. That's what the energy of this year is going to be about for you. So there must be a connection, therefore, from which you can do the learning that you need to in order to have like the full final relationship in the future. So yes, you can turn the next relationship into the one which will be the full final relationship moving further forward into the future forever and a day. Yes, that is a possibility. But I'm seeing this as a learning opportunity first and foremost, prior to it being a complete transformation into like the marriage quality relationship that you might actually need. The energy that the reading is giving me is also very good as far as trying to maintain stability with one particular individual and trying to learn what it means to have convergence, namely to have a meeting point of ideas and meeting point of personalities, which is really what you require. Okay, Sean, you're interested in the worldwide opportunities for organic farming initiative. Okay, let's have a quick look. We'll see what the reading says. I'm a big fan of organics myself. Spring's here. You know, actually this video is being recorded on the spring equinox itself, and I'm laying down my plans to what I'll be growing and how I'll be growing them. So I'm seriously interested in horticulture and trying to take from nature as well as give back at the same time. So let's see if this is the right thing for you to do. All coming out very interesting, but watch out for interference. Now the message of interference there is interference in two different ways, some of which comes from internal, namely something inside you is interfering with your own life path and is making you think that one solution is better than another solution, or indeed the way in which you're doing it is not necessarily quite right. There's just this feeling of being slightly off whack with something about the way you're doing it, but the rest of the signs, according to the reading, is suggesting that this is the right thing to do. Everything there, very bright, very sunny, okay? Willpower, determination, intelligence, you're making an intelligent decision. Slow progress to reach your goals. This is only one step towards reaching your goals, but still quite important. Reiteration of willpower, purpose, and keeping a focus, and applying all your energy and determination to the goals you want to be able to achieve, okay? And finally, a sense of joy and something literally of the sun, which means nature and things which are growing, okay? In this particular context, in accordance with this one particular question, if you get my drift, okay? So it's actually quite an interesting reading, because essentially it's suggesting evaluate or re-evaluate your motives, but go for it. Okay, Marie, you've got a complex situation with one particular individual and you want to make sure they do actually have some feelings for you. Let's have a quick look and see basically what the reading says about that. Shuffling very thoroughly as is traditional. This is of course the tarot show with the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch. And if the cards aren't already on the table and I'm talking to you and you can't see my hands, then I'm probably shuffling because I want everything to be thoroughly random, and so we're getting a pure and perfect straight message, if you get my drift. But this is a relationship inquiry, so standard 8-card relationship reading. Here we go. Nice. You're at a juncture, okay, a particular point, not a jumping off point, a juncture, okay, that means like a place where you're changing gears, okay? It's like a junction, but you're not necessarily changing direction, but you're changing gears, okay? There's a strong feeling in the forces between the two of you of new beginnings, and also having studied each other to the right level. Now, what can this be on the basis of? Okay, think about it. What can it be on the basis of? On his side of things, the stability and the desire to be with you, him seeing as you being the only person in his life, very strong signs of sensitivity and caring for you. There's a real space in his heart for you. It's like there's a cavern inside there, and he's already placed you in there. Alright, emotionally speaking, bam, this is big. So, signs relating to a new beginning, strong sense of, being in somebody's heart, some very interesting feeling there. Your side of things, you've got some feelings there, but essentially your anxieties are basically getting the better of you, so it's not really allowing you to feel the flow. You've been trying to get some balance and perspective, which is great, but that feeling of victory, that feeling of victory you want to get to, way up there, you can't quite see it there, despite the fact he's giving you a lot of good signs. Okay, he's giving you a lot of good signs, you can't quite see it. Alright, so you need to question yourself a little more as to, are you seeing the signs? Be more aware of what this person's saying, what they're doing. Okay, there's been a lot of problems and a lot of issues, but essentially think more with greater clarity. Sometimes we all go through times in our lives like this, when we can hear what someone's saying, and we can intellectually know what each individual word means, but we find it difficult to string it together. So we find it difficult to, let's say, fully understand the meaning that someone else is giving out. Alright? I feel that once in a while you just sort of like slip into this pattern of listening to the words, not listening to the meaning behind the words. And I think you need to start searching for that and having those objective conversations with him. Look, about this time or about this situation, can we discuss this, please? Okay? And trying to do it like a conversation, not wanting your goals to occur there, but wanting the goal of the relationship as a whole to start to manifest. Communication signs of that order and type are coming through very strongly within your short-term future. Very strong, okay? And then there's some very gentle progression there. It's a toing and froing relationship, but it's not that negatively passionate. It's more a question of you're still going to be carrying on growing with each other, but like an objective level of communication, conversation, and understanding will in fact be really important as you start to move forward. Remember, this is a real, genuine adult relationship, and therefore you're going to be treating this as real, genuine adults going forward and dealing with the issues you'll be facing. Okay. Okay, Samantha, you've been in a connection with John for years now, okay? But he now hasn't spoken to you in a week. Let's have a quick look and see what the reading says about that. Bear with me a second, please. Here we go. Okay, control issues are a big thing here. Okay, forces between the two of you, Mars conflict, a sense of not really getting on, not really agreeing. This is a bit of a bad sense I've got here associated with this one. Signs on his side of the reading, talking about a bolt from the blue. You've carried along on the same track and bam, he's had a change of thought very quickly. And that's basically made him think, what on earth are we doing here? He just like, it doesn't seem to fit anymore. And so there's a bit of a sense of conflict there. It's not feeling very pleasant, okay? Forces here, passionate, yes, but that's interacting with the way the lightning struck tower is standing there. And I feel that could be, there's a feeling of irritation, especially considering this is like a conflict issue with a bit of a sense of there being something of a martial nature there. Now, on your side of things, you're terrified of being defeated, but I think you may have to have a bit of reality check here. So, although it's you who's being portrayed as being the Knight of Wands, in this particular case you're being portrayed as someone who is fighting but losing. I do not feel your relationship is going to work out well, and I'm going to have to give you a negative message today because this one is not looking very happy. Alright? And I just have to be honest about that. Now please, 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 please take it easy. Alright? All I can do is tell you what I can see and what my reading says. You may think, oh my god, Nick is an evil man because he said this stuff about me. But sorry. There is a risk which you take when you have a reading, and that is that the reader will have to tell you quite honestly and directly what he has seen. And if it's coming out like that, I have to tell you that as well, okay? Let's have a quick look. Short term, mid term, long term. Okay. although it's bad, you're going to have a bad short-term future, it's not completely lost. Think about it like this. Okay, futility within the first 3 months. You're going to try things, you're not going to get results. Mid-term future, there's a bit of a sense of change. So a couple of months, it's going to be attempting but failing, attempting but failing. That's when the depression's going to really sink in. You're not going to be able to like that. You're going to start to get a new perspective on what it is that makes you happy, and then after that, there's a dramatic sense of change and potential for progress. And there are some Venusuvial or love energies associated with the Four of Staves there. Okay, as well as a few other associations. It's all complex stuff. But that'll depend upon how you perceive it during the short and mid-term future, and depends upon how conversation and activities go and what your goals are. I can tell you what I can see, but it's up to you to work out what your goals really are. Okay, and what kind of person you want to have in your life and how you want to be friendly with them. Okay, Susan P. You got a different type of inquiry for me today, and that is this, a dream interpretation inquiry. So, I've read through your email, I've had a look at the situation. Obviously, we've had a few conversations about this before. Okay, so I think you know roughly where I'm coming from on this. But essentially, if we were to take away the subject, would the dream itself necessarily mean something? I don't think we can say either way. We can say the dreams themselves are rather curious. Sometimes they do have meaning, sometimes they don't. Initially, it's worthwhile interpreting the dream as being what has been going on within your own mind, being manifested itself during a time when you have the inhibitions lowered, and that's what dreams can be at times. They are times when there is inhibition, social inhibitions lowered. I mean, there's things which we all do in our dream world which we don't do in reality for obvious reasons. Namely, society has rules, no matter what area of society it is. And relationships have rules as well. They have boundaries which get laid down. Okay, and sometimes one dreams outside of those boundaries. Now, could it be that he's still thinking of you? Yes. Could it be he's reaching out through the dream world, through the astral world itself, to try and reach you? Yes. Does that necessarily mean anything as far as love is concerned? No. Not at all. Okay? It could be just a fantasy. It could be wishful thinking. Does it mean anything in terms of a relationship? A real relationship? No. Alright? One needs to be very skeptical. Whenever one gets a strange experience, whether it's through doing a reading and all the rest of it, you need to be very skeptical. You need to learn to feel like the texture of the experience, and then learn to work out whether you should be trusting it or whether you should not be trusting it, depending upon what the feeling really is. Okay? Now, with most dreams, I would actually be relatively skeptical, because I feel that you need to think more about what the dream is trying to tell you about your state of mind. Now, for anyone out there, you know, who's learning tarot, who's learning all the symbolism of the tarot, what the tarot is actually like trying to tell you, taking a bit of a broad spectrum state of mind about this would be quite useful. Okay, and you can do this with dream analysis. You can do this with any form of psychic or clairvoyant perception. You can write down what the experience you had was, but you don't jump to any conclusions as to what it means. You just see that as being a curious experience, and you have a look at the rest of your life and see whether there's bits of it which fit. But whatever the experience was, it doesn't necessarily provide you with any answers. You've got to be able to look beyond that to try and work out how useful these things can be for you. Okay, Matthew. Congratulations, obviously, on having graduated from university. Very well done. My university days were not the easiest under any circumstances whatsoever. I'm shuffling the cards very thoroughly. We'll have a quick look at your career, see basically what's coming through. We're moving back to the chronological spread and see what kind of thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, and all the rest of that are going to appear for you. Bear with me a second, please. Very interesting. When you went to university, were you very driven? Were you very driven towards success and achievement? Because that's what the devil card can stand for at times, okay? Passion, drive, determination, I'm going to make it. You know, nothing's going to get in my way kind of attitude, alright? But why would that be correlating with studies? You're going to go back to studies in the future. You're going to complete something that you were planning for a long period of time. You got your basic stuff, you got your school education, you got your undergraduate education, you're moving on to something bigger and better. Postgraduate education, PhD level maybe or above. if there is an above. Essentially, it looks like you're going somewhere. Now, what I would like you to do, though, is to appraise why you are where you are and what you're doing where you are, basically, because a lot of the signs here are rather negative. You're in a state of frustration. You're in a state of anxiety. It looks like you've been pushed from pillar to post. You've had things you wanted to achieve in your life, okay, for other people's benefit, and you can't quite see why this great solution hasn't, been dealt with before. Okay, so you got worry and anxiety about other people. You got a sense of a good moral standing and trying to control the issues around you. You got a feeling of anticipating great pleasure once you've reached that level. But you've also got the sign suggesting that you're not too sure about what you're going to be able to achieve. Okay, you want to take action, but you're afraid to. So, are you doing the studying because you think that will be action in its own right? Or are you doing the studying because it will lead to the action in question? I don't think that you're doing this studying because it will lead to the action in question. I think it will give you the pleasure of thinking that you're doing something. And I think that you need to be critical of yourself as to why you're doing it. And maybe you need this card in your life more. The Wheel of Fortune. Fun, recreation, pleasure, excitement, something frivolous. You take life too seriously. And sometimes you just need to relax. When's the last time you did a nightclub? Or you just hung out? There's all kinds of things you could be doing with your life now. But trying to achieve the things which you told me you wanted to achieve in your email, that's a big call. Remember to breathe, okay? Hello, Joy. Okay. Yes, I know I struggled with giving up smoking myself. It must be a very hard time for you right now, and it really affected my family environment as well, because I was getting like, really, really angry and really, really tense. I think that time has passed me now. Okay, I'm still using nicotine replacement therapy, but I'm not quite in the, I'm going to kill someone now thing. But what I have found is that I still have to carry on looking after my diet, nutrition, and all the rest of it. Because if I let that slip, the brain goes, and I end up saying and doing things that are wrong. Because I think even after like 6 months, your body is still healing, your mind's still healing, and you've got things to deal with. Okay, here we go. Your relationship. Will it last your giving up smoking period? And thank the Lord it will, okay? Because I think you may need to get a bit more extra therapy or extra medication or extra something else, because this is a time of stress. The communication signs are there within the reading, when essentially right now it should be love. The progression, short-term, mid-term, or long-term future, okay? Absolutely amazing, especially long term. The relationship stays into the future, but you're seriously indulgent in the here and now. Giving up smoking is a hard thing to do, and it can affect your relationship. Yes, it can, but that's no justification to go back to it. There's other solutions for you. There's meditation classes, yoga classes, playing tennis on a Wii console, all kinds of other ways to get the anger out of your system and to bring yourself back into harmony. Some people recommend a vegetarian diet even. Okay, there's other ways of looking at your health problems, but go to the doctor anyway, because he's there to say the right things to you, to help put you on the right track anyway. Okay, so have some faith that there will be a resolution. Have some faith that your marriage won't be destroyed, but also do the next right thing. I believe you can get through this time. I seriously believe you can get through this time without a shadow of a doubt. Okay, Rose. Thank you for your email. People get all kinds of strange experiences, okay? Sometimes they can be frightening, yes. But you've got to try and be, a little more analytical when you have these experiences, because sometimes they can frighten you, especially if you let them. In your case, I would say you're letting yourself be scared by them. So, remember to breathe. Be a little skeptical. It will be okay. All right. Okay, John. final reading of today. Here we go. Standard 8 card relationship reading. To see whether it's actually going to happen between you and her. Okay. It's a complex one. But, you know, it often is. We're talking about dealing with people now, aren't we? Okay. Forces between the two of you. Passion, control, wisdom. That's good. She loves you. But she's not quite there, mentally speaking. Okay. On her side of things, she gets defensive at any little frightening thing in the world. Okay. She's gone through enough strife in her life to cause her a lot of problems. And so she defends her own pain. Okay, she's tried to get help, but she hasn't had the ability to try and get that sorted out and get that working right. Your side of things, you're more sorted out. You're more with the world. Okay, you've still got your own personal history and your own personal problems, but don't worry about that because essentially, for the most part, you're quite a loving individual. Some of your priorities were a little skewed. Why did you get into this relationship in the first place? What did you want to get out of it? These are questions you've got to ask yourself, okay? Not questions I'm going to ask you, you've got to ask them yourself. Because I think there's a reason why, you know, the Ten of Cups is there, but it's turned up upside down, reversed, okay? So the feeling that the reading is giving me is that yes, this can work, but you're both very hurt souls. You've got together in this relationship at the wrong time, okay? It's not healthy. My recommendation would be to just communicate and be friends for a time first, because you both have some stuff to get over, and you need to look after yourself. She needs to look after herself. You want to make sure that you've got the relationship in place. Progression, short term, mid term, and long term. The short term is diabolical, basically. That's why you need to have some communication, but don't force it. You know, we all feel under pressure, don't we, to try and get the relationship sorted out. No matter how late you are in life or how early you are in life, there's always that, oh, I've got to have a real relationship sorted out. Okay, don't think like that. Okay? Progression's looking good though. You've got a dark period to go through first and everything else gets better. That's what I will say. Okay. Alright, well, that's the end of the tarot show. If you want to have your reading done, submit it via an email to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com and I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, favorite, and share. And remember that, legally speaking, a tarot reading, clairvoyant reading, mediumship reading, and all the rest is regarded as an entertainment service for good, common sense reasons. Okay? So, I will look forward to speaking to you again next time. This is, of course, Nick Dutch, and this is, of course, the Wonderful Tarot Show.